Welcome into another episode of New England Sports Guys podcast. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Ian Mann. We're going to talk about, nothing important. Some guy named Tom Brady, the greatest player to ever play football, is coming out of retirement. There have been some huge trades. We'll get to those. The free agency frenzy started early. It starts 2 days early because of the league year doesn't start until Wednesday. So there's like legal tampering. ESPN is changing their Monday Night Football cast. I don't really care for that, but they were some big names. Teams are needing to get under the salary cap before today, so there's a ton of people that got cut. It's a bloodbath out there for the people that are getting cut. We've talked about this many times about guaranteed contracts and why they don't do it. And then we're going to talk about the Players' Championship, the PGA's fifth major. It was a very, very exciting. It was crazy. I can't wait until we get to that part.
Major.
Yeah, it's the unofficial fifth major. But that was a crazy. It was crazy to watch. It was unbelievable. But we'll get to that later in the show. But before I get to that, I'm going to bring in my co-host, Smitty. Smitty, what have you been up to?
What is up, Ian? Well, went ice fishing last weekend. So full disclosure to, mostly Irish John. Canada John, he listens every week. Andy listens every week, I'm pretty sure. But we tried recording last Thursday, and it turns out was a little too buckled to probably record. So some of the things we talked about weren't as
articulate.
Articulate. That's a good word for it.
That's a good word.
So,
and we had some sound problems with the third person there.
Yeah. So anyway, but we did go ice fishing this past weekend. Didn't catch fish. Had a lot to drink. Had a lot to drink. But it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. It's good to see those guys. We do it every year. I don't know if you ever have any interest in ice fishing, but probably get you up there if you have interest. It is a good time. And yeah, I mean, the one difficult thing, it's in Brownville, which is about a 2.5 hour ride.
That's nothing for you. You drive up to Fort Kent like multiple times a year.
It's not as bad, but it's still a ride.
You don't even need to make a pit stop. It's a straight line.
Oh no, I don't need to make a pit stop. It's only 2.5 hours. I used to drive from Denver to Amarillo, which is an 8-hour drive, and not stop. I got a big tank, both in the truck and in the body. But let's see. Other than that, this is my last couple days in my position. Tomorrow is the kickoff for March Madness. Excited for that. Not only that, it's also St. Paddy's Day. Love when those two things coincide. It's like it amplifies St. Paddy's Day so much more. So I'm excited for college basketball coming up. I don't watch the whole year, do a bunch of brackets, and then try to figure out who's going to win and who's not. And it's just, I love March Madness for even the games, the 1 versus 16, most of the time there's blowouts, but the rest of the time, there's a lot of competitive games that seem to always go down to the last minute or the last second.
2 versus 15, like there's always one upset.
Yeah.
So it's for the underdog, the upset stories. That's why we're watching.
And
because we're from Maine, so like
no dog in the
University of Maine. Like even if we did go to that college, yeah, it's technically I think it's a D1 college program, but like they're not on that level, so like we can't root for them. They've never been in the tournament. The only people that have been in the tournament is the women's team, and they were awesome in the 90s growing up. But it was always us against Connecticut in the first round. We just get knocked out every year. So I mean, we don't really have a team to follow in college basketball. I follow Duke. I don't think you really follow anybody. But I don't watch every game. I only watch them if I'm bored and I find it on TV.
I don't watch anything throughout the year, but once college basketball or the March Madness hits, I watch a lot of them. Although tomorrow I got the next 2 days I got a lot of work to do, But Saturday, Patrick and I are supposed to go get a haircut, and maybe we'll do we'll have a guys' day. So I don't know how much I'll watch Saturday, but Sunday it'll be on TV. So that's pretty much what's going on. What do you got going on?
I'm trying to spend as much time with my kittens as I can because they are only kittens for a very short period of time. So mostly focusing on them, enjoying time with them. And my wife's showing me a cat that she has caught.
Does the little one have a cone off?
Yeah. She only had that on for a week.
Do you have your cone off?
I do. No cone. I'm good. I can lick myself anywhere. So yeah, there's just that. Like I said, March Madness is coming up. I've been glued to the TV watching all the free agency stuff happening.
Been wild.
And then I tried to watch as much as the players as I could. I was flipping between the players and ESPN or NFL Network back and forth just for updates all the time. So yeah, that's what I was doing.
It's been pretty crazy. Sleeper, like the Sleeper app, seems to have the scoop on a lot of these things before Adam Schefter or at least before he reports them, before him and Ian Rappaport and some of the big names that get the scoops. It's pretty interesting to see, but we're gonna actually blow through a lot of these pretty quickly because there's been so much over the past couple of days. We'll stop and talk about some of the big trades and again, Tom Brady and maybe some of the big signings that we think, but for the most part, we're not going to talk about each one of them.
No, we just don't have the time. So yeah, let's get right into it. So Tom Brady's coming back. I knew he was coming back. Now, what I didn't know is that he's coming back to Tampa. I thought that was unusual. I thought he was really waiting for them to release him so he could go to San Francisco. But on his Twitter, he wrote specifically that he's coming back to Tampa. And so that sort of put things in motion. I think he came back. I mean, I think it's great because, we get to see Tom Brady. He always said he's going to play till he's 45. Byron Leftwich did not get a head coaching job. So he's still the offense coordinator. So he gets to work with Tom Brady and do whatever he wants, basically. And that gives him a buffer between him and BA, Bruce Arians, because there was some rumors of rumblings that Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady would go through the game plan and develop it all week, and then BA would come in and just marker over it. And they really didn't like that. They're like, oh no, we had all these ideas, and then BA's just do this. So hopefully, they work it out. I'm sure they will. They're all professionals. And they won a championship 2 years ago. So
or are we going to have another head coach and Tom Brady scandal?
Probably a head coach Tom Brady scandal, but Bruce Arians is a hothead, so he might say something, but Tom Brady would never say anything. Tom Brady would take the high road every time. Mm-hmm. So wheels are in motion now for Tampa Bay. They re-signed Ryan Jensen, which is a huge deal because he's their center. So they signed him to a 3-year deal. The rumors are Gronk's going to come back. That hasn't been released yet, but everyone, I'm pretty sure Gronk has said that he would only play for Tom Brady. So I think he's tied there. The happiest person when Tom Brady said he was coming back was Big Ben, because now he will get into the Hall of Fame first try. Now, if Aaron Rodgers retired and Tom Brady retired, Big Ben would have been a second ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. They would have been you don't deserve to be in this class. So I thought that was interesting. What do you think about Tom Brady coming back?
I mean, like you said, I agree. I thought he would. I thought he was going to come back to Tampa, though. I really do think he enjoys maybe not so much the head coaching. I mean, I don't know the conflict or if there is any between them, but I think he actually just really enjoys Tampa, the area.
Yeah, I think he likes the weather.
I think that is a huge part of it. Granted, there were reports he was going to go to San Francisco, but which is also a relatively decent area. But I just really think he enjoys Tampa, enjoys the area. His kids are now starting to get a little older, and they're starting to, build roots in school system and get friends and things like that. I think that's a huge thing for him. And I'm excited for it. I've always been a Tom Brady fan, whether he was with the Patriots or Tampa. And it's good to see. I mean, he was top 3. Was he top 3 in MVP voting last year?
He should have won it.
At 45 years old. So
in my opinion, he should have won it based on the injuries that Tampa had, and they still made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers, I don't think had as good a year. Tom Brady led the league in passing yards, and I think he was first or second in touchdowns.
Yeah. So that was kind of surprising, right? But I am excited to have him come back. He obviously has gas left in the tank, and I think he's going to come back and prove it at 46 years old. He turns 46, I think it is, in August.
I think he'll be 45. He's 44 right now.
Oh, okay. 45.
But he had always said that he was going to play till he's 45. So I think next year might be his swan song. We'll see.
Yeah. If he wins it all, I bet it is. But if not, maybe. Again, he hasn't showed any signs of slowing up.
Yeah. Tampa was loaded last year too. It was just a missed opportunity. Their cornerbacks got annihilated. Just like the Ravens, they lost all their secondary. So did Tampa. I think Bunting, he broke his forearm like week 2 or week 1. And then they tried to go get Sherman to help fill in, but he got hurt because he's old. Godwin blew out his knee, and then Antonio Brown was being a drama queen. So, I mean, another year in the system, get a couple tools, a couple weapons. Godwin will come back eventually. You still got Mike Evans and Gronk, Scotty Miller, Super Bowl Lenny, Keyshawn Vaughn. Like, they're loaded.
Even if Gronk doesn't show up, they still have 2 really good tight ends in Cameron Brate and OJ Howard.
Yeah, they're not bad. One's from Alabama. I don't know where Cameron Brate went to school, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
So that was the huge news. I'm glad we get another year of Tom Brady. It's just awesome. He's the best. So before that news came out, there was news. The big news was Aaron Rodgers was coming back to Green Bay. That was the big news. And that lasted all of an hour, maybe less, because then the Broncos came over the top with their news, and they're trading for Russell Wilson. So I'm really glad that squashed Aaron Rodgers news, because like we've heard Aaron Rodgers for 2 years. Like I'm glad that just squashed his moment. Like, it's hilarious. So Russell Wilson gets traded to the Broncos for Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, and multiple first-round picks. I think it was 2 or 3 first-round picks.
I think it was
and then
2, a 4th, and swap 5th and a 6th, or something along those lines.
It was massive. And he's 34, and Russell's been relatively healthy. He had a hand thing last year, but like his knees are fine. His finger, yeah. So his knees are fine. His throwing shoulders fine. He doesn't have a concussion history or anything like that. So theoretically, they can have him for another 10 years, like theoretically, because he's so young. 34 is, Tom Brady's 45. So, what do you think of the move by the Broncos?
I think it's a great idea. They had a decent defense, and we've said they needed a quarterback, right? So they went out and got their quarterback. I don't know how much Shelby Harris. I don't know how big he was in their. He's a
DN.
I think he's a D tackle. I thought
one of those D-line guys.
But they are just signing Gregory.
Yeah. They got Gregory from the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, which was a great song. But no, I mean, I think it's a great move by Denver. Why not, right? If you think you have the team to do it, Noah Fant was that's a big one.
Rising star.
Yeah, that's a big one. But I'm gonna butcher his name, and
Albert. Just call him Albert O.
Albert O. Their backup tight end and now starter is a really good tight end too. So I don't think it's going to be a crazy drop off there. And Seattle's been looking for a tight end maybe forever.
Jimmy Graham. Since Jimmy Graham, they haven't had they've had some guys fill in, but they haven't been great.
Yeah. So no, I think it's a great thing that Denver ended up doing. I think it's a great haul for Seattle. They're obviously going to rebuild with that. Multiple first round picks, multiple picks in general, some young guys in Noah Fant and
Drew Lock and Shelby Harris. I think he's 30, 31. So he'll be there for a couple of years.
Yep. So yeah, no, I think it's a great thing that both teams really worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I think it worked out for both teams as well. I think the Broncos, they've been searching for a quarterback since Peyton Manning. And even before Peyton Manning, they were searching for a quarterback since John Elway. So that's what the league's about. If you don't have a franchise quarterback, you were stuck in neutral. It doesn't matter how well the GM's done a great job for the Broncos, drafting offensive players, defensive players, moving on from Von Miller, acquiring assets and stuff to make this trade. So I think the team is ready to roll. The biggest problem with this trade is that division is stacked. You're talking, is Russell Wilson the third best quarterback in that division? Right now, he's probably number 2. So it's Mahomes, Wilson, probably Herbert, and then probably Derek Carr. And Derek Carr is not nearly on their level, but Derek Carr did have a good year. He had a better year last year than people thought he would. But we know what Mahomes is. Mahomes sort of had an up and down year. But Wilson is probably, between him, Herbert, and Mahomes, it's probably going to go into the Hall of Fame. If Herbert can win some Super Bowls and if Mahomes can just get to another one, probably win another one, he'll definitely be in the Hall of Fame. Derek Carr will never be there.
What do you think? I got a question for you.
Shoot.
I'm looking at Russell Wilson's contract. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but looking at Russell Wilson's contract, he's got 2 more years.
At $35 million.
At $35 million, but his earnings are only 24 and 27 over the next 2 years. What do you think right now his career earnings are?
Well, he's 34, so he's been in the league probably 10 years.
10 seasons.
So first 5 years on the rookie deal, he was a 3rd round pick. So his rookie contract probably didn't make more than $5 million in his rookie deal. And then this deal, probably less than $90 million.
Double it.
Oh, $180 million?
$181 million is what he's at career earnings. 78 in salary. So you were pretty close in salary, and then $96 million in signing bonuses.
Oh, okay. I was thinking whatever that contract that Seattle signed with him for his first big deal, that's where all his money's from. It's not from where he's drafted or anything like that.
No, the contracts,
because Seattle went out and paid for Matt Flynn. They paid
that's
him
right from Green Bay.
Paid him $30 million, and then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna cut you because this 3rd round pick is awesome."
So his first contract, 4 years, just with, let's call it $3 million. It's $299.
Yeah, I figured it was less than 5.
And then the next one, to 2015, he signed was 87, 4 years, 87.6. And
okay, so that's what I was thinking of.
And this current one is 4 years, 140 million.
Okay, so I didn't realize that there was another deal in there. I thought it was, his rookie deal 5 years, but maybe they signed him before his rookie deal was over.
They did. It looked like he only ran actually 3 years on his rookie deal.
Okay, that makes sense. They probably won a Super Bowl and then went to another, and then that makes more sense. So that's a brutal division though. That's going to be a dog eat dog division. It's going to be just like the NFC West, and it's going to be like how the AFC North was last year. AFC North's not going to be the same because Big Ben's gone. We'll see how the Ravens come back, and the Brownies might get Deshaun Watson. So we'll see what happens there. That's the rumor.
I hope he doesn't go to the Falcons.
I don't think so, but he could.
We'll talk about Watson. Yeah, we'll talk about Watson here in just a few minutes, I think.
So the next big trade was Khalil Mack went to the Chargers for second and a 2023 sixth. I think it's great for Joey Bosa. It gives him somebody on the other side so they won't double team him. I think Mack is a little bit past his prime, but if he's got some good juice left for another couple of years, he could really free up Bosa and they could really do some damage. But the big problem with the Chargers is not their pass rush; it's their run defense. They need to go get a D tackle. That's what they need. So it doesn't help their run defense really, unless Khalil Mack is really good at run defense. But I think that's more like a D tackle linebacker problem.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it is going to be great if any team is in a passing situation on third down, they're probably they better figure out how to get the ball out fast.
Yeah, and if he's not, if he's healthy, it's going to be great.
Yeah, but you know, who knows what the Chargers are thinking? Maybe they're thinking that this draft class is going to have a lot of offensive, defensive, trench folk, and maybe they're able to get one on a rookie deal, a cheaper one that can step in and help that stout up the run defense.
I was expecting the Chargers to be better than they were. I know they switched coaches last year. And I don't think Anthony Lynn should have been fired, but we did like Bruce Staley coming in and taking over that team. I guess the rumor is they didn't have I guess they didn't have the personnel to run his defense. So that's why it was all disconjointed and they weren't as good as we thought they were. But I think that they're in a tough division now with the Broncos there, the Raiders under new management, and obviously the Chiefs. So,
well, right now, luckily, the Broncos are the only ones that can run the ball
right
in that
now,
division.
Yes, that's true.
So maybe they're like, we'll just friggin' outscore you.
Hopefully, they got a good defense, so sneaky. So anyway, the next big blockbuster trade was the Cowboys traded wide receiver Amari Cooper to the Browns for a bag of footballs, a 5th round pick. But the big thing is he's a salary cap sacrifice basically because he was making $20 million and the Browns are taking on that full salary. So I think it's good for both teams. The Browns need weapons because they don't have OBJ and they let Jarvis Landry go. So I think Amari Cooper is going to be attractive to Deshaun Watson. So we'll see what happens. So with Russell Wilson going to the Broncos, Carson Wentz gets traded from the Colts to the Washington Commanders for 2 third-round picks. This smells of desperation to me. The Commanders are a terrible team under Dan Snyder. So I don't know. Yeah, it's an upgrade at QB, but there are better QBs out there. I don't know if I would have thrown all my chips in on Carson Wentz. He did play well last year, but like I said, you only see his bad moments, his Herculean moments that turn into disasters. What do you think of that move? And what do you think of Amari Cooper going to the Browns?
Well, really great move by both teams because if they couldn't find a trade partner, the Cowboys, he was going to get cut, right? So great for the Cowboys. They were able to offload the whole salary instead of, having some in dead cap. So that was great for the Cowboys. And for the Browns, like you said, losing OBJ and losing Jarvis Landry, it gives them a wide receiver, number one, because it's yet to be seen if Donovan Peoples-Jones can be a number one. I think
Donovan Peoples-Jones is not a number one. He's a field stretcher, but he's not a number one.
Well, exactly. He's not a number one wide receiver. That's what I'm saying.
No.
But so I think that helps. Amari Cooper's he's a good receiver as long as he doesn't go back to his last year with the Raiders where we talked about it before at some point is.
I don't feel bad for him then. Like he got the nickname Captain Drops, but again, like remember when Randy Moss was out there and, Amari Cooper's out there. It's like a bad franchise to play for. So like he probably wasn't super motivated.
Sure. But Getting to Carson Wentz.
He's still young, but he was really good 5 years ago.
He's had a lot of injury history, right? So that's one thing, a little baggage that comes with it. And then if you're Indianapolis, what did you trade? You traded at least one first rounder to get him. And now you got 2 third rounders in return. I mean, a year later, I don't think the value was there.
Indy's eating it right now.
So,
and so most of that I think has to do. Frank Reich wants him there. I think Chris Ballard's indifferent. And then I think Jim Irsay, the third person that makes decisions, wanted him out because of the vaccination bullshit that they had to go through. And he was unavailable for a couple of games. So I think that's really what came down to it. Irsay was just like, he's got to go, which I don't think is a smart move. I think a second year in the system would have been better.
Oh, yeah. Him. Especially with Frank Reich.
Yeah. And he wasn't that bad. I think he was 27 touchdowns to 15 interceptions or something like that. It wasn't terrible.
It was a middle of the road, right? He had a decent amount of yards, 4,000 something yards, right? So
yeah. And he has a great run game to back him up, good defense. So I think another year would have been better. He just had to be a little bit better with some decision making.
But he's gonna regress in going to Washington. It's still going to be weird calling them the Commanders. They could have picked many other names that would have been better.
I agree. It's a terrible name.
But getting back to Wentz, again, getting the 2 third round picks. Yeah, you got something, but still wasn't enough, in my opinion. It's interesting on the Washington side too. We've talked about it. I really think they got a pretty good core of folks, and their defense played way worse than we expected last year.
I would have ran Taylor Heineke out there again.
I think Taylor Heineke did a sufficient job in the Washington offense, and having Antonio Gibson, having Scary Terry, having Curtis Samuel actually healthy, because he missed the first 9 games with a hamstring injury or groin injury or something.
Logan Thomas is a good safety blanket.
Yep. So I really think this should have been. I think that the Colts should have got more out of him, or just not traded him at all. I don't think they should have traded him, but had they had to trade him, I think they should have got more out of him than what they did.
Yeah, I think they cut bait too fast.
Yeah.
And they were on the fringe of making the playoffs. They were almost there. And the biggest thing for the Colts was they had a horrible starting schedule. Their first 5 games were brutal. The best case scenario was 2-5 or 2-3.
And
so
Washington
they started
made the playoffs.
4. Did they?
Yeah, they played Tampa Bay first round.
Oh yeah, and got smoked.
Yeah, but they still made the playoffs.
Sure, but I think the Colts, if they didn't have the schedule they had.
No, Philly played Tampa Bay the first round. I lied. Washington didn't play.
Yeah, I was going to say Washington. That didn't sound right. But if the Colts didn't have the schedule they had at the beginning of last year, playing all playoff teams, it was brutal, I think they would have easily made the playoffs. And they made a run towards the end of the season, but they choked down the stretch. They lost to the Jaguars and somebody else, the Miami maybe, the last couple games. So they choked those games away. So I think they cut bait too fast, but it is what it is. Anyway, moving on to more quarterback news. So Watson he's been taking meetings with all kinds of teams. So I'm not sure where he's gonna, sign his no trade clause to allow these where he wants to go, but he's looking at Atlanta, the Browns, Panthers, and Saints. I hope he goes to the Browns. Why not? And then that means Baker Mayfield goes somewhere else. Baker's probably going to go to, I don't know, the Panthers.
But the Panthers, so
Seattle.
Taking a step back really quickly, Watson was found he's not going to be indicted on any of the charges by a grand jury. So
criminal charges, yes.
Criminal charges, yes.
There's going to be a civil suit, but
sure.
That's
the
point.
Yeah. But so that after that got cleared, all these teams are like, oh shit, he's going to be able to play. Let's go. Because his time in the league, he's a top 3 quarterback in the league, fantasy wise, top 3 quarterback in the league. So
yeah,
you know,
And whoever trades for him, I think the NFL could still come down with a penalty.
They
like an 8-game suspension.
I'd be surprised if it was 8 games.
Yo, man, you're showing your pee-pee to all these people. Like, at least 4.
I think a 3 or 4 game suspension is probably what they're going to come down with, but
only because there's nothing criminal. Yeah.
But if they're only going to give Ray Rice 2 games before the video got released,
yeah.
Anyway, I'm excited. I'm personally excited because Deshaun Watson, I have him in both dynasty leagues, and I needed a quarterback in one of the leagues, the league I just won.
You're loaded at every quarterback position. You have like 3 starters in every league.
Now it gives me that 3rd starter, and it's going to be bananas how good these teams are.
I hope Watson goes to Cleveland because I want Baker to get a fresh start somewhere else. And I want Matty Ice to just finish his career with Atlanta. And
yeah, it was really surprising to see Atlanta throw their name in the hat.
I could really care less about the Panthers, and the Saints are probably just going to get
Jameis Winston back.
Yeah. So I would like to see that. I think Baker would play well for Carolina or Seattle. So I don't know. So moving on, the Pats traded Shaq Mason to the Bucks for a 5th rounder. Pats were missing a 5th round pick, so they got one now in this year's draft. Ted Karras signs with the Bengals. So we're losing one of our tackles, backup center. And Brown is a free agent. So the Pats O-line is in flux. So we could re-sign Brown. I hope we do. He's a monster. And the Raiders traded Yannick Ngakoue to the Colts for a cornerback, Rock Yasin. I don't know. They need a DN, sure. So the Raiders traded him away because they just signed Chandler Jones is the thing. So they ended up with an extra pass rusher, so they traded him away. We're going to go on to some Cowboy news. So the Cowboys have been having to do a bunch of stuff because the problem is they paid Zeke Elliott $18 million and they don't want to cut him because they're going to have to eat most of that money. But nobody's going to trade for an $18 million running back. Nobody's
not one that's he didn't perform as well as past years.
Yeah, and so that led for Cooper having to be cut. Well, not cut, but traded to the Browns because he made $20 million. So they have to get under the cap. And so consequently, since Cooper went to the Browns had to cut Jarvis Landry to take on that salary. And, I think Jarvis Landry was arguably their best wide receiver. I thought he was on the field more than OBJ, and he definitely had a better rapport with Baker than OBJ did. So in all these moves, it means the Cowboys need to re-sign Michael Gallup. So they did 5 years, $62 million. That's not bad. He's 26. He's coming off an ACL, so they probably got a little bit of a discount there. And they really like Michael Gallup to go with CeeDee Lamb, so that's their 1-2. It's hard to have 3 awesome wide receivers on a team, but 2's not bad with Dalton Schultz at the tight end position. So hopefully CeeDee Lamb can step up.
And Tony Pollard catching passes out of the backfield because I honestly think he's going to play more than Ezekiel Elliott going forward.
Yeah, Zeke's had some injury trouble a little bit lately. He played last year through like a bad wheel, so he gritted it out. But Tony Pollard looked better on tape. Dak Prescott and Zach Martin, they reworked their contracts to free up $22 million in cap space. Jerry Jones is in a scandal. I don't know if we mentioned this on the last podcast or not, but a girl came out and was like, "You're my father." So I want to see them on Maury Povich is what I want to see. I want to see I want to see that dynamic.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds, and we won't pull on the string just yet. We'll wait to see more information to come out before we start reporting on it.
Yeah, I guess she doesn't want money because she had a trust because Jerry Jones has been paying her mother this whole time. But her mother was like under an NDA.
Yeah.
But her daughter isn't, like, now that she's an adult. So Here's that. Randy Gregory went to the Broncos on a 5-year deal because he didn't like the language that the Cowboys were sneaking into the contract. They something in there like they weren't going to pay any fines if he gets suspended, or they weren't going to pay him if he got suspended. So he was like, bleep them, and so he went to the Broncos. So the Jaguars are loading up. They went on a spending spree. They got Christian Kirk, Brandon Sheriff, Evan Ingram, Zay Jones, Darius Williams, a D tackle. I can't pronounce his name. They got a linebacker. I can't pronounce his name. But that linebacker, so they had to cut Miles Jack. I hope he comes to the Patriots.
Miles Jack just signed with the Steelers.
Oh, he's good. He's young. I still want to see Bobby Wagner come to the Patriots.
I'd love to see that.
So we're going to continue on just because, like, the Jaguars spending money is great, but they're basically overpaying people. But I'll believe it when Jacksonville starts winning. So the Aaron Rodgers deal, it was 3 years, 150, or 4 years, 200 million, but it's really 3 years, 150, but 2 years are voidable. Since Aaron Rodgers already had a year left on his contract, so it's this year, next year, and the year after, and then 25 and 26 are voidable years. But there are some weird stipulations to this, and I stole this from ESPN. If Rodgers plays only one season and then retires, gets released, or is traded in 2023, the Packers would have to absorb at least $68 million in dead money, and up to $99.8 million if it occurred before June 1st. Another sign that the quarterback intends to play or has committed to playing at least 2 more seasons. So just because like those numbers would be ridiculous. So it's big news for the Packers, but like I'm not surprised they went back to the Packers. I just think that team's going to be crippled, just like when Joe Flacco became the highest paid player in the league. You can't sign anybody, but Green Bay has never really signed free agents. They're really good at homegrown talent, so I don't think it's going to change anything. It's going to affect Devontae Adams, though.
He got tagged, and he said he's not going to play under the tag. I still don't know how they're still under contract or they're still under salary cap with him getting tagged.
Yeah, with Aaron Rodgers had to sign his contract, and that reduced the cap hit by like $18 million because the signing bonuses and the money spread out. So that helped him get under. The other big signing was Kirk Cousins for Minnesota, signs an extension, 1 year, $35 million. What do you think about that? Go on, Chuckles. Mediocre.
Yeah,
like giving Derek Carr $35 million,
which Derek Carr does have quite a bit. See, and maybe this isn't up to date, but on over the cap, Green Bay is still $7 million over the cap.
Yeah, they'll have to cut somebody. So Kirk Cousins he's better than average. He's not elite, but he's better than average. I don't know if he's 35 million worth.
No.
But since there are only so many QBs to go around and you don't have a franchise one, these guys are going to get overpaid to stay. And that's what Kirk Cousins did. Kirk Cousins has been overpaid everywhere he's gone. But they have to pay him $35 million because they can't tag him again because Washington tagged him twice. So
when that carries over to a new team,
it does.
Oh boy.
Because that was changed because Drew Brees got tagged a couple times and he was like, so it got changed in the CBA. So Kirk Cousins could get tagged again, but he'd be like 70 million and no one's doing that. So, but Minnesota didn't really have a choice. They have Kellen Mond on their roster, who's a backup.
Was he drafted last year or the year before?
I think it was last year. I think it's a good move for Minnesota. They still got Jefferson, the Thielen, they got Irv Smith, and they got Dalvin Cook. I mean, you could do worse than Kirk Cousins.
Sure.
You could trade for Carson Wentz. So the next big one that we'll talk about is JC Jackson, went to the Chargers, 5 years, $82 million. Yeah, that one stings a little.
What's surprising, if you look at it, it surprises me that the Patriots wouldn't pony up for that, for what he brings. 5 years, 82.5. I think that's a great contract.
It is, and that's the contract that another cornerback got like 2 years ago. So it's not even like an updated contract for a standout corner. But it really hurts the Pats. But I'm glad he got paid. He deserved it. He played well, and typically the Pats stick around and they don't pay certain players. But they knew it was going to be a bad idea to tag him, I guess. Even though I'm pretty sure he came out and said he'd play on the tag, but maybe I'm misremembering that. But last year, since Jackson was still on his rookie deal, that allowed the Pats to let Gilmore go or trade him for a bag of footballs, which I think they ended up doing because he was sitting out.
Carolina. He was sitting out with injury.
Yeah, and so now Jackson goes. I don't think we have anybody to replace Jackson. We have Jalen Mills and a couple other guys, but they're not J.C. Jackson's level.
They signed somebody today.
Oh, all right. The Pats need some draft picks, so they need to hit on some draft picks. The Pats also lost Brandon Bolden. He signed with the Raiders. He was an unsung hero last year, filling in for James White. He was amazing, special teamer. I love Brandon Bolden. Great for him. The Patriots re-signed James White, Matthew Slater. McCourty's coming back as well. I think the Pats team, they're really turning over some roster here, so it's going to be interesting. There's the Christian Kirk deal. Go ahead.
Did you say Brandon Hoyer?
No, Brandon Bolden.
Yeah, but Brian Hoyer re-signed. Devin McCourty re-signed.
Yeah.
Also, they're not putting a tender on Gunnar Olszewski. They put a second-round tender on Jacoby Myers.
It's a good pick.
So yeah, but Gunnar, who
cares about Gunnar?
Well, didn't he make the Pro Bowl as a returner 2 years ago?
Yeah, Patriots are good at that. They'll find anybody.
Sure. I could have sworn they signed a.
So the Christian Kirk deal, 4 years, $72 million, but it can go up to $84 million for the Jaguars. So they're overpaying for a guy who hasn't really produced, but he was sort of overshadowed because Larry Fitzgerald just wouldn't retire, essentially, is the problem. And, they got Hopkins and Green, and, he was always the third fiddle there. So it's good to see him go to a team where he's going to get an opportunity to play.
Nick Folk re-signed too.
Nick Folk re-signed, yep. Chandler Jones to the Raiders. He's been the best pass rusher since he left the Patriots. So that's good for the Raiders, and he knows Josh McDaniels. So there's a connection there.
Terrence Mitchell. You said Chandler Jones. Terrence Mitchell signed a 1 year, $3 million. He played.
I did say Chandler Jones because he went to the Raiders.
I know, but he played for the Texans last year. And so again, maybe this is where Belichick's looking to, because there's actually a lot of good cornerbacks coming out of this draft. So maybe he's going to try to retool within the draft.
He's got to. They got to hit some picks.
They got to hit really the defense, the inside linebacker and the cornerback are two glaring needs. I'd love to see them still sign Allen Robinson. He's still sitting out there. Hasn't signed with anybody. So I'd love to see him. And I don't think he's going to be as expensive as, well, definitely not Christian Kirk, although Christian Kirk might have just set the.
Who else is out there?
Who?
Used to play for the Falcons. Used to play for the Titans.
Me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
Yeah. Julio just got cut.
I did see that.
He could come to the Patriots for a short deal.
Yeah, 1 year, $7 million deal. That is like the Patriot way. 1 year deals. Give you 1 year deals.
So Mitch Trubisky signed with the Steelers instead of going to the New York Giants. What do you think about that?
I just got a note from Sleeper. Sorry, Von Miller's going to the Bills.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah. Mitch Trubisky, really surprising. I was thinking that the Steelers were going to try to go in on the Watson, sweepstakes, or Jimmy G, or even
Jimmy
Carson
G,
Wentz.
yes. Watson, no. The Steelers are very character driven.
Okay.
They have values, I guess.
Big Ben had a incident in the bathroom with a young lady, and then also crashed his motorcycle. So maybe this is in recent years.
Yeah, you just don't any position but quarterback.
Oh, okay. Well, that's where Watson plays. But anyway, no, I was really thinking that. What did you say his deal was? I saw it and I can't remember.
It's 2 years.
So there's still some time. They're not committed to him long term, but really hurts Deontay Johnson's value. It really hurts Chase Claypool's value.
He's
really
hurts. He's the number 2 pick when he got drafted, which was a surprise out of North Carolina. But I think it's a good move because it gives the Steelers time. Either they draft somebody this year, like Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis, and then they sit behind a veteran, and then the veteran will take the shots until the rookies are ready, or he's just a bridge quarterback till next year. I think it's a good move. I really think they should have gone after Jimmy G, but maybe they don't think Jimmy G is a franchise guy, which he's not. So maybe that's what they're looking for. They're looking to hit a home run.
Everybody keeps saying that. He literally just brought a team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know. I disagree with saying Jimmy G is not a franchise guy.
I like him. So moving on, there's a bunch of franchise tags. I'm not going to talk about any of those. There's a bunch of cap casualties. So I'll talk about a few of them real quick. There's Julio, Miles Jack, Kyle Van Noy, Patriots, Bobby Wagner got cut, Jordan Hicks, Landon Collins, Trey Flowers from Detroit. That's a big one, actually.
I think Jordan Hicks re-signed too. I think he signed with the Cowboys, maybe?
No, yeah, he signed somewhere else. He didn't sign.
Yeah, sorry.
Then the retirements. Tom Brady came back. So next topic, ESPN Monday Night Football. So the big thing was they stole Troy Aikman. And then Joe Buck still had another year in his contract. So Fox and ESPN worked out a deal, and now they got Joe Buck. So now it's Aikman and Buck doing Monday Night Football, which is great for Monday Night Football. But I just don't like Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. So there's that.
I agree. I'm going to watch Manning Casted. I'm going
to watch the Manning Cast as much as possible on Monday night.
Von Miller, 6 years, $120 million.
What do you mean 6 years?
I don't know how to make that any more clear.
Isn't he like 30 something?
Something like that.
Gee, I don't know about that.
6 years, 120 million. And I haven't looked. That's just the update that just came through. I don't know what the particulars are, year over year and cap savings or what's in roster bonuses, whatever. So
would have thought he's towards the end of his career, not 6 years.
I would have thought a 3-year deal would be probably closer to.
Yeah, and they'd bring him up to probably 34.
But getting back to Troy Aikman, Joe Buck, ESPN wanted to make a big splash, right? Because their viewership for Monday Night Football didn't drop off because of Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, and Louis Riddick. I think they did a decent job. Just Manning Cast is way better.
Yeah, and they were much better than Booger and whoever was before.
Sean McDonough.
Them. Yeah. And the year before that was a train wreck with Booger, Joe Tessitore, and the tight end from Dallas,
Jason Witten.
Yep. So they've been trying to get it back, but yeah, the Manning Cast is just super popular. I like that. It's a little more casual. They're telling us what's happening, what they would do in those situations. Eli's actually pretty funny.
You have Marshawn swearing on live TV.
Yeah. Players will no longer go on the show if they play the following week.
Yeah.
Because they've lost every time. Yeah, no, it's a huge blow for Fox. I don't even know who their second crew is. So
it's probably going to be, isn't Greg Olson and...
Yeah, it's Greg Olson and...
I can't remember who he's with, but...
Kevin Burkhardt? Something like that?
Yeah, maybe that sounds right.
So I mean, I like Reggio, but it's whether or not they want to promote him to, the number one job. So we'll see.
Yeah, Fox is just they're gonna get crippled because of that.
Yeah, we'll see how they do. I think they need to change up their desk. I think Terry Bradshaw's a little old. I think Howie's a little old. Michael Strahan. They got Jimmy Johnson needs to go.
Yeah, I think Bradshaw
keep
and Jimmy
Howie
Johnson.
and
I think Howie. Sorry, I like Howie. I like Michael. I like Jay Glazer. I think he does a really good job. And who's Kirk Menefee? I think all those guys do a good job. But and is Tony on that one too, or is he on CBS?
Tony Romo?
No, Gonzalez.
I think he's on CBS.
They started bringing in Mark Sanchez, I think, which
Mark Sanchez is great.
Yeah, he did a great job. He got the whole desk younger. So
he's on Cowherd all the time, and he's a great analyst.
Yeah,
and he calls a great game too. So those are smart moves. Dumb moves. Calvin Ridley is suspended for the whole 2022 season for betting on the Atlanta Falcons game when he was away from the team to win in 2021. I think it's a harsh penalty, but they know the rules. I don't know if that will get reduced, maybe. But, he was supposed to be the guy that was replacing Julio Jones, and he stepped away for mental health, and then he gets suspended for the whole following year. I don't know. His career might be done. We'll see. He might catch on somewhere, but Matty Ice won't be there anymore.
Yeah, it's a tough blow for Atlanta, and I understand.
Go on.
Looks like the Bills might get OJ Howard too.
Well, yeah, because Gronk's going to go to Tampa.
Yeah, I understand.
The rumor was Gronk was going to go to Buffalo.
That's right. I understand him, or the argument of, well, why is he getting suspended? He was betting on his team and he wasn't even playing. I understand that, but it's very black and white that you don't bet on NFL games.
Yep. I am not opposed to the punishment.
No, and it was just a stupid thing to do. So the nice thing is, I don't know if you saw the report, but there were a few teams reaching out to talk, and they were starting in talks with about Calvin Ridley. And Atlanta was like, nah, let's put a hold on that. Because once they started the probe, which Atlanta fully agreed with, once they started the probe, they were like, nah, we're not going to go with that. We're going to hold off on trade talks. And then this comes out and he gets his sentencing. So
they were very close to trading him. I forget the team that they're going to trade him to, but yeah, once Atlanta got Dallas? I don't think so. But once they got whiff of it, Atlanta front office did the right thing.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're going to have to pull away from the table. And then the other team was like, what's going on? They're like, we can't tell you at this time. And then, it comes out that he's suspended. So, but I had texted you who the other team was. I just forget at the moment.
Yeah. They did a great job, really honorable thing. And it's really nice to see. I've always actually liked, their owner, Arthur Blank.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the best owners in the game.
Oh, I meant to mention this earlier with the Watson stuff. He knows Watson from like high school because Watson's from Georgia.
Oh, no kidding.
So he has a close relationship with Arthur Blank. So that's why they want to go after him like hard. So moving on, Major League Baseball, they reached a tentative agreement. Funny note is Tom Brady's retirement was shorter than the MLB lockout. You didn't know that?
No, I never thought of it, but I will say, since they came with an agreement, it's been a fire sale. Chris Bryant just signed a 7-year, $182 million deal with the Rockies.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't do anything, so everything's just been backed up.
So it's been pretty wild since they did that. But it's cool to see.
Yeah. And the Bruins are 8-1-1 in their last 10 games, currently 4th in the East. Have you caught any of their games? I know you like to pump up Jeremy Swayman, so.
Yeah, they won last night, but the Sway Man wasn't in. They play again tonight. They were in Chicago last night when they won 2-1 in overtime. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch the whole thing because it was a little later start and I was just exhausted. This time change thing just screws me for like 2 or 3, 4 days. Go on.
The Senate just passed a law to get rid of daylight savings.
To get rid of? I thought it was to keep it.
Whatever. It's going to make it permanent.
Yeah, I think it's going to be kept.
Sure, but now we don't have to change the clocks anymore.
Oh, that's not how I thought it was that they're going to continue to do that.
No, it's to get rid of it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great news. I like to hear that. But they played Chicago last night, 1-1 in overtime. Grizzlick had a nice goal, and Pasta and Taylor Hall had a great feed to him. They're just on fire right now.
And didn't Swayman win goalie of the month last year or player of the month last year?
Rookie player of the month in February last month.
In other NHL news, the trade deadline is coming up on Monday.
I'm excited. Last thing about the Bruins, they actually start here. We're recording on Wednesday. They start here in a little over a half hour. So I'm going to watch that game tonight. They're in Minnesota, which is going to be a good game. Minnesota's got a good team. But yeah, the NHL trade deadline's coming up on Monday. There hasn't been really any trades. I mean, there's been a couple a few weeks ago. Hasn't really been anything. I'm expecting to see that ball to start rolling and the dominoes to start falling, but haven't seen anything yet. Bruins really, I mean, they're rolling right now. They're getting a lot of depth scoring, which is great to see, but I would like to see them, because I don't think DeBrusk is the guy on the first line with Marchand and Bergeron.
Yeah, they've been shopping him.
They have, and the Sharks, while we've been on here, I was hoping the Sharks, they would get Thomas Hertl from them.
You're hoping the Sharks would bite?
Jesus. we're removing that from friggin' podcast. But I was hoping they'd get Thomas Hertl, but he just re-signed 8 years, $70-something million contract. But we'll see. There's a lot of good players out still. Bergeron, I just got a note that he's out the next 2 games because of an infection. I'm not sure of what, but anyway.
Hockey players are such wusses.
Moving on. It'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple days. And they, like you said, they're currently 4th in the East, but they're only 2 points behind Toronto, who can't stop a beach ball right now. They're still winning games, but they're winning games like 8-5, 7-5.
They got the roster to do it.
But when your offense dries up and you still can't stop a beach ball, it hurts you.
Yeah, it could be a problem.
So looking at it though, Toronto, they're basically going to play one of these teams. You ready? Florida, who has a 73 goal differential. They're 26-6 at home. Yep. Tampa Bay, who is back-to-back defending Stanley Cup champions. Very difficult. Or Carolina, who has a +59 goal differential, 23-4-2 at home. And I think Carolina is tied for least goals against in the NHL. Nope, they're not tied anymore. They're leading. So
Toronto's going to get pumped, but
Toronto's not going to make. They're not going to make it out of the first round again this year.
Yeah, which is per usual. So in Celtics NBA news, the Celtics are retiring Kevin Garnett's number, which is right.
I think they already did, didn't they?
Yeah. Sorry, they did. They just did like the other night. So they're going to retire, or they should retire Ray Allen's number as well. He was there for all those games. He went to Miami and that put a sour taste in people's mouths, but the Celtics weren't going to pay him, so he went to the team that would pay him. I don't understand why that's a problem. Anyway, the Celtics are 7-10. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're currently in 5th place in the East. They could move up to like 2nd, but they'd have to continue playing real well. So we'll see. I still don't think they're going to championship team. So, but anyway, I'm moving on to the subject I want to talk about now. So Tiger Woods got inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame last week, right before the players. In my opinion, Tiger changed the game. He was head and shoulders above everybody. I love using the analogy that he used the Michael Jordan of golf, which is what everyone says. But really, he had no equal. Phil Mickelson was the next closest guy, and he was like hundreds of tournaments behind Tiger. And as far as like winning, like it's not a rivalry if you lose every time.
They
But
tried over years. It was VJ Singh, and then it was Sergio Garcia, and then it was Phil Mickelson, and they tried to have a adversary for him, but they just never. He just crushed everyone.
And in golf, if you were like betting golf, like a player or the field, you take Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
which is incredible because typically you take the field. Tiger Woods' stats blow away everybody. He was doing things that nobody was doing. He was incredible up until his early 30s, and then he's hit the rocks lately. And with all the injuries he's had, but he won't catch Jack in majors, I don't think. I think he's still one behind, right?
I think so.
So what Tiger did is he revolutionized golf, and I say that because like all the people that are playing now, all the young golfers that are coming up, they all watch Tiger Woods play, and like he's their inspiration. He's inspired generations. So what he's done to the sport is really invaluable.
And the only guy, I believe the only guy to ever hold all 4 majors and the players at once.
You mean win them?
Yeah, he held the trophy. Sorry, he held the trophy.
Yeah. He did the Grand Slam, which like nobody had done.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say nobody. Some of those old guys probably could have done it. Like Ben Hogan or somebody. Like
he's 3 behind Jack.
Yeah, he's not catching Jack. Not at his current state. Right now, he's not even playing golf. So, I don't think he's going to win 3 more majors because the guys that he inspired are so good now. I don't think that he's got the game to do it. He'd have to be like super incredible putting, but his drive's not really what it used to be. So, and that was his big advantage is like he was fit and he could outdrive everybody, but now everybody drives pretty far. So it's really not the advantage that it used to be.
And I would like to see him win another tournament, a PGA tournament, because he's tied with Sam Snead for 82 all time, 82 PGA wins. And I'd love to see him hold it.
I can see him winning another tournament. Sure. I just don't see him winning another major. Those are just sort of crapshoots. Speaking of championships or unofficial majors, we'll talk about the Players Championship. Cam Smith ends up winning, and it was a wild ride. So it's usually, Thursday to Sunday, but I think, was it day 2 was rained out?
They got delayed
in day 1, right?
They got delayed in day 1, had to pick up on day 2. I think
day 2 was completely rained out.
Yeah. And day 3 was super windy. That's what it was. I think there were a few people that didn't finish their first round and really had to pick it up that day. It was the Saturday where it was super windy. Finished then, and then they finished round 2. And so round 2, 1 and 2 finished on Saturday. Sorry, 1 started 2 on Saturday, 2 started 3 on Sunday, 3 on Monday, started 3 and finished 3 and 4, I guess, on Monday. So it was a wild weekend, and I didn't get to watch as much of it as I'd like, but it sounds like I didn't miss much besides the Saturday being the crazy windy day. I saw there were a lot of golf balls in the water. Yeah,
I watched some on Thursday, and then I think I caught the end of Thursday because I was working. So I caught the end of it when I think Daniel Berger was out there. He was leading, and then it just starts downpouring on him. And then the horn went off, and everyone, the coverage was canceled. And then the whole next day was rained out. but nothing affects the scores worse than the wind. And it was super windy. It wasn't like hurricane wind, but it was like 20 to 40 mile an hour gusts. So it's a problem because there's a lot of water at this course. It's TPC Sawgrass, right?
Sawgrass in Ponta something Beach, Florida, but it's in Jacksonville essentially.
And it was awesome. So, me being a casual golfer, it's good to see that these guys were splish splashing left and right.
Because I could do that with no wind.
Yeah, we do it without any wind. But these guys, I have it up on another sheet. So I don't know if you guys know the 17th hole on TPC Sawgrass, but it's an island hole. The only way to walk there is from a small strip on the back side, but the rest of it's covered or surrounded by water. And on that hole, if I can find it, by round, number of players that found the water on 17th, balls in the water on day 1 was 35. 35 people found the water on 17. And then round 2 was 13. Okay, people got a little better. Round 3 was 8. And then round 4 was 10. So that first day with the wind and the rain, it was brutal.
There were a couple 7s on that.
Oh yeah.
They dunked it, took the drop, dunked it again, and got a 7 on the hole.
So the drop zone is it's like 30 yards closer, but to the left. But you're still aiming at an island. And some people still missed it again, which is hilarious because this the yardage it's only 143 yards on day 1, 146 on day 2, 121 on day 3, and 133 on day 4. It's not that far. I can easily hit that probably consistently, but with those wind, it made it a big problem. And it was just awesome to watch. I like seeing the best players in the world have a difficult time golfing because it's a hard sport. Seeing them hit perfect shots every time is, I don't know, it's kind of like watching Tiger Woods, kind of boring. There has to be some type of drama or it humanizes them, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yep.
So it was good to see them dunk a few. Makes me feel good because I dunk them all the time. At our local course, the first hole, there's a big water pond on the right, and I have a nice slice. And even if I hit a good shot, it can still find its way in there.
Speaking of local courses, I heard None Such opened this week.
Nice.
Yep. So that means the other ones are going to be not far behind. Probably 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to be on the course. Be a little soggy, but it'll be spring golf.
On hole 17, Shane Mallory was not really in the running, but on day 4, he holed and won it.
Yep.
Which was amazing. So the guy who got the ball, he runs to the next tee box and gets him to sign it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because he chucked it into the crowd, which is crazy. Why would you do that? Maybe that's what they normally do when they get a hole in one, but I don't know. I'd keep that. That doesn't happen very often.
I mean, it's probably not his first hole in one in his career, though.
Probably not as much golf as they play.
Yeah.
So did you watch Monday?
No, I didn't. I wasn't able to watch any Monday.
So I caught the last 4 or 5 holes that I sat down and watched intently. I was flipping back and forth the whole time, or we'll say working. But I really started paying more attention at hole 15 or 16. And so it's Cam Smith, the group with Paul Casey and Burns. Burns was the leader after like day 2, but he was out of it pretty early. He was not going to win, but he was still stuck in that group. And so this is where the crazy finish stuff happens. Cam Smith is up, I think, by 2 strokes, maybe 3 strokes. I think he's up by 3 strokes. He duck hooks it into the woods. Like bad. And I was like, ugh, he just lost the tournament because of this. He ends up chipping out into the fairway, or punching out into the fairway. No big deal. But before I get to that, Paul Casey hits after him, hits a beautiful shot down the middle of the fairway. His ball lands where somebody else's ball had planted.
The divot.
Well, it's not like, yeah, it's a divot, but it's not like it's not the dirt divots like where somebody had hit. It's where somebody's ball got stuck in the grass. So his ball has like nowhere to go.
Oh, so it was like the plug hole.
Yeah, it got stuck in a plug hole. Exactly.
Oh, and at this point they weren't doing free relief in.
Well, you only get free relief from your own. He landed in somebody else's.
Oh, no shit. Oh, that's
so Paul
brutal.
Casey's 2 or 3 shots back and he gets screwed by this rule. And he asks an official. Official's like, yeah, it's not your hole. Like so like if it lands in a divot, that is bad luck. It just happens. But I think they should really change both those rules to just move it a couple inches to the right and call it a day. Like yeah, you get a better lie, but like
I had to play it off Frankenstein's fat foot.
Yeah, if people aren't fixing their divots or their plug holes, like Paul Casey got screwed on that one. Anyway, Paul Casey's I like him. He's a good guy. So anyway, Cam Smith punched out on 16 and he's way back. He hits a 3-iron, 240 yards, puts it on the green. Like incredible shot. And then I think he ends up parring out the hole, considering that he duck hooked it into the woods and he pars. That's not bad. So then they go to hole 17, and so Burns goes first, and Burns is out of it. Burns hits a shot 30 yards to the right of the water. Not even close. Some of that, I don't know if it's the wind or what, but it wasn't that windy in day 4. But it also is the camera angle. The camera angle is to the back right of the golfers. And so everything looks like it's going out into the water, even the good shots. So yeah, Burns goes first, puts it in the water, and then Cam Smith sees that. Cam Smith is leading the Players' Championship. Like he knows he's in the lead. Pressure's on. And he sticks it within 4 yards of the hole. Birdies the hole. I think Paul Casey ends up with a par on that. And then Lahiri is in the last group. He's really charging up the boards. He ends up parring that hole, and they can see what each other are doing because they're big screens.
He was ahead most of the weekend, really.
Yeah, and they're big screens, so like Cam Smith can see what he's doing in the hole behind him, like when they're walking around. So Cam Smith is trying to like keep the pressure on. So hole 18, this is a interesting hole at TPC Sawgrass. So it's not a dogleg left, but it sort of goes left. But there's water all along the left-hand side. And then, so it's like this. It's diagonal almost. But there's water all along the left. And to hit the fairway is really kind of narrow. And then there's a bunch of woods on the right. So most people hit their drive and if they hit it too far, they end up in the woods. And then they have to punch out to the fairway. The group in front of Cam Smith's group, Keegan Bradley, puts it in the woods, chips out into the water. So like we just saw that, and then Cam Smith puts it into the woods, chips out, goes all the way across the fairway into the water. Jesus. So that was kind of a Paul Casey right behind him does the smart play. He uses an iron, puts it into the fairway, and then puts it just short of the green. He should have made the green, but he was a bit short, so he has to chip up. He pars. But Cam Smith, he puts it in the water, has to take a drop. You know, this guy's got nerves of steel. So he just hits it on the water in 18, has to take a drop. So his third shot, technically his fourth shot, he hits a beautiful shot, ends up right next to the hole, ends up getting a bogey. So that puts the pressure on Lahiri behind him, because Lahiri has to birdie to catch him. And Lahiri doesn't. I think Lahiri, obviously he parred it. So Lahiri loses by 1 stroke, and Cam Smith ends up being the winner. But he really lucked out like down the stretch with duck hooking it into the woods, and then on 18 puts it in the water. Like it was a wild finish. But Cam Smith putting all tournament was nuts. Awesome.
They were talking about it on the last. I don't remember if it was on Sunday. if it was going the last part of round 2 or if it was the beginning of round 3 or whatever, but they were saying that Cam Smith is probably the best putter of the top folks in the running for the tournament, right? So that
and his short game's ridiculous too.
Yeah, and it really came down to it. So it was nice to see Cam Smith win. He's a likable guy.
Yeah, he's like 35th in the world or something like that. But his putting and his short game is unreal. Like I think he led the tournament and obviously stroke gain in those areas. DJ tied a course record with a 63 on the final round. He got an eagle on one of the holes.
He probably got multiple eagles.
But DJ was out of it. He wasn't really in contention at all. I think the weather affected a lot of people. But I'm really glad that Cam Smith won. Nerves of steel. The guy is incredible putter. Incredible. Anyway, I thought that was. You kept talking about how the players is like that tournament that gets you excited. Well, I got to watch a lot of it this year, and yeah, I'm excited about golf. It's
stirred something up down below.
I still got snow in my yard, but so it's hard to get that excited because it's still 28 degrees out.
Nah, we're gonna be golfing soon. It's gonna be 50 degrees this weekend.
Yeah. Do you have anything else about the players that you want to talk about?
No, I'm excited for. Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 weekends, something like that. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. Bemis is going to come up and we'll do the Masters Pick'em. And who won that last year?
You can.
I'll be wearing my green jacket and shoving it right up your guys' hoop. But so, yeah, I'm really excited about that. We're going to do a little live streaming. We're going to do some more buffalo wings. Bemis wants to try that fire sauce.
Doing more buffalo wings.
No, you're doing it too. Although I did just buy a shitload more sauces that are not the top end. They're like, I'll say the top quarter though, top third.
There's one more thing about the players. I guess there was some controversy. Daniel Berger, he was playing really well the first couple rounds. But towards the end, he was grouped with Victor Hovland and another guy. And Berger hits one into the water. And, he's trying to take a drop like 100 yards farther up than he's supposed to. And Victor Hovland and the other guy call him out on it. And so there's a disagreement about all of it. So the rules officials I didn't see it. It's not on camera. You three have to figure it out. And those two guys made Daniel Berger go back 100 yards, drop his ball. So I don't know.
That's interesting. I didn't hear that.
Daniel Berger was mighty upset, but it doesn't matter. He wasn't going to win anyway. But it's a gentleman's game. And I thought he was probably trying to game the system. I don't think Victor Hovland was trying to screw him. And I don't think the other guy was trying to screw him. Most likely not. I don't know them personally, but. So March Madness starts tomorrow. Get your popcorn ready. Fill out your brackets. We both did. Who do you have winning?
I'm not going to tell you until tomorrow.
I have Davidson. No, I'm just kidding.
You have Duke winning because you're a Duke guy.
I do.
I have Arizona. I have Arizona winning. So I did 3 brackets this year. So I have Arizona winning in 1 or 2. And then I think I have Purdue actually winning in another one. They're number 3 seed out of the Baylor side, I think.
Did you have Patrick do that for you?
So funny story. Patrick was sitting on my lap yesterday morning before breakfast. And I was like, all right, Patrick, which team do you like better, Wisconsin or whoever they're playing? And he'd pick. And I was like, this is just as good. It's probably going to be more accurate than me trying to pick them. So I was like, I would say 90% of the picks are him. He did pick against Arizona every time. So I was like, I think I'm going to pick Arizona. Arizona, I think is going to win. They're going to beat the 16 seed. I almost guarantee it.
Yeah. I did like the smart ranking one. ESPN gives you a chance. You can do random BPI and then like a random smart one. Anyway, I did a random smart one, but then I like tweak it a little. Because for the most part it's uh by rank, not by seed. I don't care for seed. I like their BPI measurement.
I looked a lot at field goal percentage, percentage of threes, or 3%. Jesus, talk much. 3 field goal percentage on 3-pointers. That's what I was trying to get out. And
right, but if you go
and
cold,
free throws.
Yep. I tried to look at like teams that other teams faced that were like kind of like quality wins type of thing. Yeah, ESPN has this bracket predictor, blah blah blah. But yeah, I have Duke winning, obviously.
Yeah, you have Duke winning most years.
Who are they playing? Oh, they're playing Arizona.
They're not coming out of that one.
So I feel good about Arizona. They got Gonzaga in there. I'm not scared of Gonzaga. Now the South has Baylor in Kentucky. Sorry, the East has Baylor in Kentucky. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to point out
that get knocked out this weekend.
Duke? No, they sometimes do. I'm going to point out that the NFL does a great job of marketing their sport. So with free agency hitting now and the new league year starting now, all these moves and all these trades, everything is talking about the NFL right now in the middle of their dead season. We're still 6 months away from football. And like, that's pretty much mostly what we talked about in this podcast was football. Like,
and we'll talk about a little stuff leading up, and then we basically have a little over a month, and it is the draft. So yeah.
So March Madness fills in the time between now and the draft, basically. And I guess there's some hockey in there. And then OTAs will start, and then offseason will start. And good stuff. I've been watching ESPN, but I haven't seen anything come across the ticker that really jumped out at me as far as like NFL signings or anything like that.
Besides the Von Miller one?
Besides the Von Miller one. But I mean, he got his championship. He can really go anywhere now. So
yeah, I don't know. Well, let's wrap this one up, and we'll have some more stuff next week.
Take us home, Smitty.
All right. Appreciate everybody listening. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Podchaser, Buzzsprout, and Google Podcasts. You can watch episodes on YouTube on the New England Sports Guys channel. Make sure to hit that button to subscribe. And we're going to have some more stuff, especially as it gets nicer out. We'll have some golf videos and stupid shit that we do in the summertime out there. And then
I bet we can get a video of Sasquatch throwing a club into the woods and then coming out of the woods with a club.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. Hit us up on Twitter at NESG Pod and on Instagram at NESG_pod. Did you see the video that I posted?
No.
Watch the video on the Instagram, on our Instagram, and you'll laugh your ass off. But really funny from this past weekend.
Are we doing simulators this weekend?
I can't do simulators this weekend. Probably next weekend.
You're dead to me.
Actually, next weekend, next Thursday, X Golf in Portland opens up. So maybe we could try that out.
But indoor?
It's all indoor or golf simulator. That's all it is.
We'll give it a try. Where's it located?
Right near like between the Memic building and the Irving, like right there off a Commercial.
Oh, so did it go where the lumber place was?
No, it's not on the water side. It's like one street up from the Irving.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the name of the street, but I think you take
that's
York.
4th Street. One street up is 4th Street. Commercials.
I don't think it's all the way. I thought it was York Street was the name of the street it's on. But anyway, yeah, I'm really excited to give that a go. Andy Goal always says that that's where they go. They have an X Golf in Ann Arbor, and so that's where they go every week.
I hope it's better than the simulators that we do at local golf courses. I have a hard time swinging indoors at some of these places because I feel like I'm going to hit something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a mental block. So I hope there's more room. Anyway, we'll give it a try. Sure.
Yeah. Appreciate everybody listening this week. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of stuff to get to, so apologize for the length, but a lot went on, and again, we'll blame it on audio quality last week of why we didn't record. I think that's
we're trying to cram 2 weeks worth of stuff into one, but I think we did all right.
Yeah, I think so. And we started a new season, so we're calling it a second season. Something to keep in mind that it's not going to be season 1, episode whatever anymore.
Season 2, episode 1. Keeping up with the NFL league year. We start a new year. We start a new season.
I still disagree with it, but I got
do that the new year.
Nah,
but I didn't think you wanted to do that around that time.
Nah.
We might not even put out shows then. So
anyway,
thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, it was a good week, and Ian, I'll catch up with you later.
Sounds good. Take it easy, man.
See you.